You know that moment when someone introduces themselves, tells you their name, you smile, you say, "Nice to meet you." And 10 seconds later, it's gone. Not a small memory slip, not a name on the tip of your tongue. No, really gone. As if your brain heard the information, then immediately threw it into an invisible trash bin. And then you continue the conversation in survival mode. You avoid using their name. You say you. So, that's interesting, but definitely not their name. You just hope someone else walks in and says, "Oh hey, Amine," to save you. And afterward, there's often that little feeling of embarrassment. You think, why do I remember useless things from years ago, but not the name of someone I just met? But forgetting names doesn't necessarily mean you're rude, cold, or that you have a bad memory. Very often, it simply means your brain didn't manage to attach that information at the right moment. Because for your brain, at first, a name is just a sound, a label, a very short piece of information given to you at the worst possible time, the beginning of a meeting. And at the beginning of a meeting, your brain is rarely calm. It observes the person's face. It listens to their tone. It tries to understand the mood. It wonders what to say next. It checks whether you look natural, whether you're smiling enough, whether you seem awkward. So when the person says, "Hi, I'm Lena," your brain hears Lena. Yes, but it's already busy managing the whole scene. It's like carrying several bags at once and someone hands you one more. You hold it for a second, then it falls without you even noticing. And often, that bag is the name. It's not necessarily because you don't care. Sometimes it's the opposite. The more you want to do well, the more you want to make a good impression, the more your attention gets divided. And when your attention is divided, memory becomes fragile. Memory needs a small moment of presence. It needs your brain to understand, okay, this information matters. If the name passes by while you're already preparing your response, it can disappear before it has even been properly recorded. It's a bit like putting your keys somewhere without looking. Later, you search everywhere, but the real problem is that you never truly noticed where you put them. With names, it's the same. You think you recorded them, when in reality, you only heard them. And there's another very simple reason. Names tell your brain almost nothing. When someone tells you they're from Marseille, that they work in a restaurant, that they love dogs, or that they've lived abroad, your brain can create an image. It can make a connection. It can build a small story. But a name by itself is often too light. Nina, Yanis, Sofiane, Claire. They're sounds. They may be beautiful or familiar, but they don't automatically create a story. And your brain remembers better what has meaning, what surprises it, what touches it, what connects to something. That's why you can forget someone's name, but remember very clearly that they had a calm voice, that they told you a funny story, or that they made you feel comfortable within the first few minutes. You didn't necessarily forget the person. You forgot the label. And that difference matters because we often mix the two together. Forgetting a name doesn't necessarily mean forgetting someone. You may have truly listened. You may have remembered what the person said. You may even think about the conversation later, but the name itself didn't find its place. The problem is, for the person in front of you, it doesn't always feel that way. When someone forgets your name, it can sting a little. Even if it's not dramatic, a part of you may hear, "I didn't matter enough to be remembered." And that's normal. Our name is personal. When someone remembers it, we feel recognized. We feel like we exist a little more in their eyes. But reality is often less harsh than the story we tell ourselves. The person who forgot your name may not have forgotten your face, your energy, or what you said. They simply lost the word used to name you. And that's when we understand something. Memory is not a camera. It doesn't record everything. It chooses. It sorts. It keeps what seems useful, alive, emotional, connected to something. And it lets go of what seems neutral or isolated. A name, if it isn't connected to anything, can become floating information. It has no hook. It has nowhere to land. Some people struggle with this even more, especially people who think a lot. During a conversation, they don't just listen to the words. They analyze the tone. They observe expressions. They prepare their response. They wonder how they're being perceived. On the outside, they're there, but inside, there's a lot of noise. And in that noise, a name can get lost very quickly. It's not necessarily a lack of interest. It can be overload. Your mind is so busy managing the interaction that it misses the tiny piece of information that was supposed to stick. And sometimes it's actually the most sensitive people who forget names. They remember the atmosphere, the look in someone's eyes, the warmth or the tension in the exchange. They remember what the person gives off, but the name falls into the background. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything about it. Because yes, remembering a name matters. It feels good. It creates a connection. It shows the other person that they exist for you. But instead of repeating to yourself, "I'm terrible with names," just change the way you receive them. The next time someone introduces themselves, take a tiny pause. Really look at them. Then repeat their name in your response. "Nice to meet you, Lena." That alone already helps your brain understand that the information deserves to be kept. Then attach that name to something. An image, a sound, someone you know, a detail in their face, an anecdote. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to create a link, because memory loves links. It doesn't like information floating alone in the void. As soon as a name is attached to an impression or a small story, it has a much better chance of staying. But the most important thing may not even be the technique, its presence. Often, the name disappears when we're too busy performing the scene instead of living it. We want to seem natural, so we become less present. We want to respond well, so we only half listen. We want to make a good impression, so we simply forget to be there. So no, forgetting names doesn't make you a bad or indifferent person. It may simply show that your brain remembers people differently, their energy, their stories, their way of speaking, what they made you feel. But that small word still matters, because for the person in front of you, a name is not just a label, it's a way of feeling seen. So the next time someone gives you their name, slow down for a second, let it arrive, repeat it, attach it to the person. Because deep down, remembering a name is not just about having a good memory. It's a way of saying to someone, even quietly, "I noticed you." And maybe that's the real change, to stop treating names like simple details. Because behind a name, there is a person, a story, a presence. So when you make the effort to remember it, even imperfectly, you're not just training your memory. You're learning to slow down at the right moment. You're learning to look at the other person with more attention. And sometimes, that small effort is enough to turn an ordinary encounter into the real beginning of a connection. If you want more videos about psychology, subscribe.